Anything, I would like the Honorable Chester Owens to come up. He's my inspiration.
Where's Mr. Owens?
Man, Mr. Owens.
He's here. He's sneaking
Where
in.
is he?
Come up, Chester.
I didn't see him.
Can you hear me now?
Where is he? There he is. Yeah.
This man here, can you all hear me? This man here, before I even met him,
How you doing?
years ago, he had a bookstore on
Yeah.
5th and Quindera. And I used to go over there all the time, but I didn't know him. I never had a chance to meet him. But here he is.
Thank you, son. I'm sorry I'm late, Sonny, but parking is
That's right.
it's tough. It's indeed a pleasure, my good friend, to be here with my good friend, Sonny. Sonny's a person that keeps me inspired all the time with the things that he writes and does just a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite his counterpart in Kansas in that I have not put books together, but the history is so important, and we're glad that Sonny is doing this, because he even had a little bit about Kansas in there. So just Sonny, keep up the good work, and this room really needs to be full. And I hope everyone purchases one of the books and get the information out. Thank you, Sonny.
Thank you, Chester. Everybody always consistently, these highly intellectual, well-educated individuals always confront me with this statement.
You know, this building, I don't know if you all are familiar with the history of this building. At one time, I owned an insurance agency, and we insured all this stuff when this was really torn out. And the Black Economic Union, the history of that, and I've written it, the Black Economic Union really started on the Kansas side. Matter of fact, it started, my wife, let my wife stand up back there.
Stand up.
Okay. Okay, stand up, Billy. Black Economic Union actually started in the living room of James McAdeel, and then the next week in our living room. And we came over here because there were greater opportunities over here. But this building has a lot of memories. A lot of people not aware of how it was gutted and how the role that Curtis McClinton made. And I make the statement all the time. Were it not for Curtis McClinton, you probably wouldn't even have what we see here at 18th and Vine. And many people don't know that, nor will they acknowledge it. Thank you, Sonny.
Okay, thank you, Chester.
All right, sir.
I run into people all the time, every day and everywhere. And they always, these institutional Negroes, always pass this question to me. Why are you always wondering about what black people did way back when? Just move from today and forget about the past.
Huh.
And I have some very close friends who always challenge me to the fact that this information is worth what? In my opinion, unless you understand the struggle, unless you understand there are people in this country and in this city that have come through an ocean of blood and tears to be where we are today. And for people to always say they are not important, I really wonder whether or not they was born a schizophrenic, had permanent brain damage to even make a statement like that. But I am pleased to have this opportunity to have this book signing. It took me about 2 years to get this one particular book together. And I really just chronicled the book off of information that I had found, research people gave me, pictures I got at the flea market in different places, and put it together because most people who write books today, after they look at all the facts, they're going to write it based on their educational values. And some of the information they're not going to put it in because their values is not going to allow them to understand it. So I decided to chronicle the book. And so I got a few notes here. I have received great pleasure for the opportunity to have the privilege, really, to look at all the information that I have had an opportunity to see. And the 1865 history of the early Negro in Kansas City has, in the past 50 glorious years, I have been enriched by the experiences of talking with people and looking and reviewing books, pictures, old documents that have provided me with a deep insight to focus on the early Negro here in Kansas City who have been misrepresented and often overlooked in the early history of Kansas City. Now, as you all know, Kansas City at one time was called the town of Kansas at the bend of the Missouri River, all during the Civil War. But after the vicissitudes of the post-emancipation days, when black people were going through all kind of changes, just walking, had no place to go, no shelter, no food, no income, no clothing. They just was wondering. Many of them came this way to Kansas City, Missouri. And most of them lived in the West Bottoms near a place called Hell's Half Acre. And most of them also resided at the bottom of the Missouri River in a place called Belvedere Hollow. There was a large concentration of Negroes. But what the books didn't reflect, the early history didn't reflect, that you had many, many people of color that has aspirations, the absence of an adequate income to develop and provide for themselves. And it was segregation, in my opinion. Now, a lot of people disagree with me. It was segregation that forced the best entrepreneurship to surface among the Negroes in this country and here in Kansas City. What's going on here?
Amen, Carl.
Because there were no places for Negroes to go, no restaurants, no goods that could be purchased, and the social entertainment and economic opportunities were very limited or unavailable. The Negro entrepreneurs in the early years, in the late 1800s in Kansas City, which identified a Pacific Negro community, looked within themselves and found that they had the capabilities to create the economic and business ventures to address the needs and the desires for the Negro people and jobs that were necessary to meet the needs of their immediate community. There's been so many great achievements. And I went in my book myself and pulled out just a few for you, hoping that this will encourage you to buy this book. There was a millionaire by the name of John Lane. He had a philanthropic organization here in Kansas City, and he built the first Negro hospital at 1227 Michigan. It was called the John Lane Hospital. He was Blind Boone, the concert pianist business manager. And they went all over the world, and he just accumulated a lot of wealth. Then you had the poet Paul Laurence Dunbar in 1902, came to Kansas City and was so much impressed with the success that was going on in the immediate community at that time. And what did he do? He built the Paul Laurence Dunbar Hotel at 1013 Oak Street. Another great person in this book is James Milton Turner. He was born a slave, but got his education and became free. And he was sort of like an educational revolutionist because he felt that all black people should have a good and proper education. So in 1869, based on this political contact, he was elected to be the superintendent of all the schools in the state of Missouri. Now you can look in any educational book in this city and you will not find this man mentioned. James Milton Turner gave Dred Scott's eulogy Also, he practiced, he was an attorney, he practiced before the Supreme Court, representing the Cherokee Nation. Then he was appointed by Ulysses Grant to be the ambassador to Liberia. James Milton Turner lived right here in Kansas City for a number of years. Also, that you can look at any educational book that kids in their formative stages should be looking through, and you will not find Bishop William Tecumseh Burnham. He was Register of the Treasury of the United States, appointed by Roosevelt in 1907. Also, a lady that was born in 1869 in Leavenworth, Kansas, moved to Kansas City in the West Bottoms, and she established a dressmaking shop. Her name was Althea Smith Minor in the West Bottoms. She employed over 50 people. You won't find that. As it relates to hospital care, Douglas Hospital was built to serve both Kansas City, Missouri and Kansas City, Kansas. It was built in 1898 to serve both cities. There were a lot of very wealthy people, not with income on paper, but actually cash. I've named a few for you that you can find in my book. As we all know about Sarah Rector, first black millionaire female in this country. Also, you had another lady by the name of Mary Harris Wallace. In 1919, her first check from some oil was $6.5 million. The first Negro colored shopping center in America was right there at 19th and Vine. The building is still standing. Homer Roberts, the first new car dealership in the United States, was right here in Kansas City. We had a lot of people riding around here in the early 20s in custom-built Packards. So there's all kinds of information. All you have to do is wonder about the mystery to read. I was talking to the superintendent of the school, Dr. Green, and he wanted to know, was my book, what do you call that? You can go on the computer and pull it up and all that kind of stuff. And I told him I was afraid of computers. I feared them because they will control your thinking, and you tend to accept everything that jumps out, that you put in, that you ask for, they'll give it to you. But in some instances, the information is very much incorrect. So I appreciate all of you coming out on such a lovely hot day. And to this book signing, I got plenty of food for you, thanks to the General Lee. General Lee is a manager of, what's the hotel at the airport?
The Plaza Hotel, the exit 13.
Okay, he's the manager. And I called upon him to...
Clerk on there, 435 Metcalf.
Thank you. And he came through for me because he brought a lot of food. But this book is a very quiet, haunting venture that I just didn't think I'd ever come out of it until I met Al, my printer. My printer sits back there, Al Walters. And I would go to him with this, that, and he says, this ain't gonna work. It's upside down, turn it around. We went through a conniption of things on this cover. But I was convinced that it is the cover that will make people reach for a book. And so I put a lot of money invested in this gold cover. I hope you'll enjoy the book. Yes, Richard?
Are you accepting questions?
If you have some.
Well, reading the book really whetted my appetite for more. So when are you going to start working on your book before the Civil War, like people in Kansas City?
I can't get down.
At the age 77, which I made it on July the 15th, I don't think I'm going to be going into no other kind of adventure like this book. One of the reasons I find it very difficult to do is because I can't turn to no one and say, let's do this, let's do that. They want to question you. I don't have the ability to go back 50 years and bring somebody up to where I'm thinking at this point as to what I need to do. So I don't have colleagues that I can sit down and orchestrate an effort to produce another book, Richard.
You find your colleague when you go to do the book on before the Civil War.
Before the Civil War,
Black people in Kansas City before the Civil War.
there's not many.
Well, there were some.
If you look at the census of 1860 only gave you 250 colored children. And that was the only way they were able to open up the first Lincoln ungraded school. You can find that in my book. I don't know, maybe they were, I don't know. But when you get ready to do this kind of research, it is nowhere to go because at the time this was happening, they forgot about you. They didn't put you in nothing. So the task is hard. Now you see right there on that placard, you have the Missouri Emancipation Proclamation document. I put that on the inside of the cover. Now Horace Peterson found that in the alley behind the library downtown in New Orleans. But I'm knowing that Missouri was the last slave state, and there are only 3 other states that have an Emancipation Proclamation document. So I choose to put that in the book for you to have. It's fungible also. So having said that, we have any more questions. I want you to enjoy the food and come straight up here and buy a book. Thank you for coming out this afternoon. Oh no, wait a minute. Come on, Bishop. You come here. Touch him. Get him over here. Come on over here.
All this traffic out here.
Everything. Hey, this is when I give my testimony, and don't get mad at me, Bishop.
Right.
When I give my testimony to thoroughly believe in all of the strange things that are written in the Christian philosophy, I'm going to this man.
What you say, Doc? Amen. It's good to see everybody. I do apologize for my tardiness. Amen. I was not expecting all this traffic. Amen. I do appreciate Dr. Sonny Gibson and the blessing that he is in the time that it takes to be able to stand firm and carry on a tradition like Eggs and Enlightenment and be able to bring truth where truth needs to prevail. The reality of what's going on in our neighborhoods. When we look at the Ferguson incident, there's a reality that we need people that can stand up and speak truth and not be afraid to tell the political, to tell the people in our city the truth. Amen. And so I'm grateful for this wonderful gentleman and the heart that he has to bring change and to bring it in an intelligent fashion. Amen. Amen. Doc, I'm going to turn that right on back over to you. I apologize again for my tardiness, amen.
Glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
Here's my other bishop. Come on. Now I knew this bishop, I knew him. Now listen to me very carefully. Before he was born. Before he was born. His father and I was very, very close friends. And I have watched him as he has surfaced and come up through all kinds of different things. But to become a bishop, it merits a lot of understanding that a person has to endure to just wear that Pope's cap. Okay, close it out.
Shall we all say amen? Amen. Now, being a clergyman, and they hand you the microphone, and you see about 25, 30 people, I'm tempted to either preach or raise an offering. I am so glad that Mr. Gibson thought it well to call us together this afternoon. I would like to encourage you to purchase a book. These books are noteworthy. They speak for themselves. When I look at this book, it is well put together. My father is in this book. He preached his first sermon. He's in that book. I guess about 15, 20 years, at least 20 years before I was born. And my father was the manager of the Streets Hotel. Yes, down here on 18th Street. And so I am just remiss if I didn't mention those things, but Mr. Elvis Gibson is somebody special. He is a jewel to Kansas City, and I want to thank him again on behalf of Kansas City. I think that this is one of the greatest offerings that could ever be made, because we have a reason now to stand proud of our African American history. And I looked at that book and I saw that there was black men had their own airplanes. Black men had their own trains. I mean, we think we're doing something with having our own stores and this, that, and the other, but you're talking about 40, 50, 60 years ago, black men had their own airplanes and had their own trains. It's really remarkable. The first black automobile, franchise, right here in Kansas City, Missouri. I didn't know any of that until I read the book. And so I would like to encourage you to get a book for yourself. You're talking about black history. This book, I'm going to talk to the superintendent of schools and see if we can get this offering to be taught, at least offered in our school system, so our young people will actually know what black history is all about. It's more than about Harriet Tubman. Amen. Booker T. Washington, we appreciate that. But Kansas City has its own rich legacy and its own rich history. And thank God for Sonny Gibson, who thought it well to bring all of these deposits together so we can have an offering in one volume here to present to our young people. Not only to our young people, but I have a sense of pride because I know him. He's someone that we know. I admire Maya Angelou, but I didn't know Maya. I know Elvis Sonny Gibson. He's right here. I encourage you to buy a book this evening. Keep it in your personal library. Take it home. Go page by page. Share it with our young people. Buy it for your seniors. Buy it for your elderly so they can have a sense of pride and reminiscence. And those people that are in there, maybe you don't know them, but they know them, and they can tell you stories about these people. One more time for Mr. Elvis Gibson. Buy a book this afternoon. Thank you so very much.
Say something, because you brought us all this lovely food.
Yeah, oh, General. All right, appreciate it. Good afternoon, Kansas City. It's wonderful we can get together while any violence, any preconceived notion, we can come together for all the events that happen up to this moment to the presenting of a great city, Kansas City, by Mr. Gibson. What more can we possibly say when we got it right before our eye and he's still walking and talking and breathing? Sonny, you know I love you. Do anything in the world for you and the rest of you out here. Our city, we should be proud of.
Absolutely.
A beautiful city. A city that sit up on the hill. A city that everybody been trying to rape and rob and fleece.
That's right.
A city that's so wealthy that everybody been coming in from broken city to try to break this city.
That's right.
But it won't happen. Because the history is live and well. There's Mr. Pendergast sitting back there on the wall up there.
That's right.
And we'll look at the great leaders who made this city great. Mr. Gibson had contributed all that he knows and everything that been given to him, and he elevated to an elegant book. May we buy and purchase this book. May we hold these tender moments together. May we walk together and share a vision of the legacy of the greats who made this city great today. May we contribute to these things here and now and advance forward and do great things together. What a beautiful city. Mr. Gibson, my dear friend, my comrade, my man of long words and sometimes short patience, when you endured in this book. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you. I love you.
Thank you, gentlemen. There's the food. There's the food.
All right, General.
No, No, they don't know me.
Hey, Bobby, get the drummer some. I don't know what we gonna play, Bobby, but it got to be funky.
Bobby! What's in there, Bobby?
Hey, Bobby. 1, 2, 3, make it funky. Hey,
You find your
Hey,
church?
Sonny,
I'm gonna, you're gonna let me open this up for it.
Yeah,
Y'all can take part, okay? Look at this over here. Real good. Let this walk with me in here. What's going on, baby? You looking wet. I see you, Dr. Gibson. Marshall called me up this morning and told me he would be here.
Marshall.
Well, the 90s, oh man, they had it together. Hey, how you doing? How are you?
No, it's my niece. And she's been trying to get in. Couldn't find a car.
Oh, okay, it's hard to get in here.
Yeah. So I just want to let her watch it. But she is a cousin husband.
He's not gonna shake your hand unless you buy a book, man.
But I want you to do everybody you sign, I want you to take a picture with me. What's wrong? Your legs broke? If you can go by him, since he's so cantankerous, all right. Look up, Sonny. I'm looking at this. One more. Hey, I ain't gonna take a chance, bro. Hey, you know what? I put this myself.
Let me say, Doc,
All right. I'm right back.
My dad.
Hi, my name is Nelson. And my name is Mia. And we are CMG. If you would like to promote your business, goods, or services, visit us at whatsupkansascity.net and cascadesports.tv. And remember, it pays to advertise.